This can be a great way to show off those soft skills. It's not for everyone. Personality-wise, role-wise, they're looking at resumes and covering up the name for fear of bias. Do you think they're going to go look at TikTok videos?
This is the Workin' Sports Podcast. Here's VP of Content and Engage Learning at workinsports.com, Brian Clapp.
Great question coming in today from Darren in Atlanta, so we're just going to dive right in. Question. Hey, Brian, big time listener here. I have picked up a lot of great advice from you, so thank you for all that you do. You're welcome, Darren. I have a question regarding TikTok. I see a lot more people posting their resumes on TikTok, and I wonder if there's some value there, or is it a waste of time? Thank you for your insight. Darren, this is a cool question, and I really like the idea of vetting new platforms and opportunities as they come up, because we're always getting inundated with, try this tool, try this technique. So I'm glad to be able to give some insight and some broader lens perspective into this concept. I will tell you, this is a subject that's been going around our office a lot. This is something we've been talking about a lot internally, and there are some mixed feelings. But since you asked me what my perspective is, I'm going to give you what I think, rather than the collective what everybody thinks. So let's get into the background first. A lot of people may be listening and thinking, I don't really understand what he's talking about, like video resumes on TikTok, that's even a thing. Okay. So since not everybody listening is on the same level, let's get everybody to the same level. Many of you hear TikTok and you think, wait, isn't that social media channel that is for self-indulgent teenagers to show off their dance moves? You'd be partly right with that. But as is usually the case, we as a human race quickly generalize based on our limited knowledge. So maybe you saw one viral video of somebody on TikTok dancing and thought that's all that TikTok is. So let's open up our minds a little bit. Yes, there are teenagers that like to dance on TikTok, but there are also some really cool tools. There's some ways to use your creative production skills. There are community threads that are really valuable. So TikTok has value in a lot of different ways. It can be a great way to learn. Short piece of advice. Great example. If you follow the hashtag career talk, get it? Play on words, not TALK, it's TOK, like TikTok. I like that. I think it's kind of creative. Career talk. You'll get a lot of good, quick career advice from experts. Matter of fact, we're thinking about starting a channel and diving into the subject, diving into the concept of giving short form career advice. I mean, that's what we do in a lot of ways. You know that from listening to the podcast, but why not reach into that other platform? So we're considering it. Actually, we're doing more than considering it. We're going to do it. Do it. So way back in July of 2021, although not really way back, it was 3 months ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago, TikTok released a pilot program called TikTok Resumes, where people could post a short video resume and apply for jobs. And some of the first pilot companies were Chipotle and Target. Keep that in mind for a second. We're gonna dive into that a little bit deeper. We'll get into the nuance there, but think about that. Think about who's using it and why they might be using it. Okay, you always have to look a little bit broader. But if you ask me, it's kind of a cool idea to upgrade the professional value of TikTok. And like I said, a lot of people have this brand impression that TikTok is dancing teenagers. But if they can combine this concept of Insta and LinkedIn, and it's not just entertainment, it's got some professional value, you get some more stickiness and you open up your potential audience. Really smart if you're in TikTok shoes. I kind of commend them on it. Okay, so now you know it exists. Now you know what we're talking about, Darren, and everybody else. We're on the same level of understanding. Let's go through some of the pros and some of the no's about using TikTok resumes, though, because it's not as simple as you might think. Sometimes a lot of people will say, it's available to me, so I should just try it. And if something happens, great. I don't think this example is that simple, but since I'm an eternal optimist, let's start with the pros. Number one, it can be a lot of fun to create these videos. And if you are skilled in that area, if you are a creative type and you're comfortable being on camera and presenting yourself in that way, this should be fun for you. And if it's fun, there's a good chance that you are going to exude the best of yourself. Like if you're having a good time, you come off that way. That energy comes through. Somebody's going to engage with that and feel that and maybe connect with it. So there's some positivity there, right? You can draw some emotional connections that way if you're having a good time and expressing yourself in a format you are comfortable with. Keyword there, if you're comfortable with it. Okay, you can't force these things, but we'll get into that for a second. One of the other benefits, one of the other pros, we talk so often about how your resume shows off your hard skills. It tells what you were able to do, what you have done, what schools, what skills, what technologies, what things you were comfortable with, what school you went to. It's like the data points of you. But there's this whole other sector of soft skills. And those can be things like passion and work ethic and connectivity and speaking and communication and things of that nature. This can be a great way to show off those soft skills because you're going to learn something about the way somebody presents themselves, the way that they're able to talk to the camera, the way that they're able to articulate themselves, and the way their energy and positivity comes through, charisma, etc. All those things are important. So there's a real value there. That's important too. This really can be another benefit, another pro is that this can be a real attention grabber. If you're applying for a job in customer service or on camera, maybe in social or in a creative spot, maybe some marketing roles, I can see the value in this because your personality and charisma becomes a part of that job, right? We talked about Chipotle and Target. What are they hiring more often than not? They're hiring people that are customer facing. And when you're customer facing, your personality matters. So that's why this aligns. One more pro, I guess I should say one more pro. This could expose you to important decision makers who you may not have had access to in other ways. So it could open up some doors for you. So I don't want to close it and say, no, this doesn't work. There are some pros here. But let's get into the cons a little bit. Does it align with where you see yourself going? Is the target market of who would use this? Who would use TikTok resumes from the decision maker standpoint? Target and Chipotle, I can understand that. Other companies that maybe have a nationwide footprint that are hiring a lot of entry-level staff or hiring a lot of junior staff and having them face customers, I can see why they might want to see what you have to bring to the table. But in a lot of professional roles and a lot of higher ranking roles, I don't think they're going to make decisions that way. So there's a main reason why, and this is one of the things that really worries me about this concept. The big one for me is that this can really lead to bias in decision-making, or at least a perception of bias. And most employers that I know, most hiring managers that I know, most talent acquisition executives are very afraid of bias or perceived bias, to the fact that they will often, I know a lot of people that when they review resumes will have the name covered up. So they don't even make a judgment consciously or unconsciously about somebody based on their name, gender, race, any of those indicating factors, right? So if hiring managers at a professional level, at the sports league, team, organization level, are not looking at resumes and they're looking at resumes and covering up the name for fear of bias, do you think they're going to go look at TikTok videos and make decisions that way? We tell people all the time, don't put your picture on your resume because that really upsets hiring managers. Why? Bias again. They don't want to be accused of selecting somebody because they're cute or they're handsome or they're fit a certain gender quota or diversity quota. They want to make decisions based on somebody's skill set and their ability to do the job that is put in front of them. So to me, this concept of TikTok resumes is wrought with some problems in that a lot of high-level companies are going to say, whoa, I don't want to see that stuff. I want to make a decision that I can never be accused of bias, conscious or otherwise. So they're not going to look there. Chipotle, Target, who hire thousands of people across the nation and probably get a good cross-section of different employees, can say, no, we're not biased or anything like that. We've hired all types of people. Other organizations that maybe don't hire as much have to be very worried about that. So the Chipotles and Targets of the world may be doing this, but the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys of the world probably are not. So make sure if you're going to do this, that you're aligning it with where you want to end up and where you want to go, that you see the benefit of being out there in this way. If there is no benefit, then it's a waste of your time to do it. Unless you're just into the idea of going viral or practicing you're on camera or presenting yourself out there and getting some likes because that makes you feel good about yourself. If that works for you, great. But lower your expectations because I don't think you're going to get the payoff that you're looking for. It could happen. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not telling you not to do it. But I am really resistant to the idea that professional hiring people in the sports industry are going to utilize TikTok resumes to find their next hire. I don't necessarily see it. I will also add, If you are not on the TikTok platform already, don't start up an account and do it just for that reason. Because again, you're not going to get the lift or the reach that you're expecting, and it's going to fall flat and you're going to have wasted your time. If you're not comfortable on camera, if this is not something you're good at doing, don't do this. Because again, you can start to show yourself in the wrong light. You can get off the wrong message, and that's not good either. And then finally, if you're not a skilled performer or a qualified writer who can edit down your experience and present you in a way that you look tight and interesting and well-skilled and well-positioned for good roles in a short time period, again, you may leave out important things and present yourself in the wrong way. So, my conclusion, this can work for some people in some roles, but it's a really small subsection, and you have to understand where you want to end up and where you want to go and see whether that aligns with these opportunities to put your resume out there on video on TikTok. It's not for everyone. Personality-wise, role-wise, like it just doesn't always work. So if you're gonna put the time into it, make sure it makes sense for you. I'm not telling you not to do it. Just be realistic in your expectations and know yourself. Be critical and say, like, this isn't my jam. I'm not good at doing this on camera. I'm not going to present myself the right way. I'm not even on TikTok. Then don't overreach to be here to do this thing because you think it's going to be some magical opportunity. I don't think it is. But if you're on the platform, you've got a bit of a following, you get some good action on your posts and things, and you're comfortable doing this, and you think it can't hurt, and it's not going to take you 4 days to produce something, okay, sure. Just don't expect magic from it, okay? It could be a good training for you. It could end up being something. I'm just not sure I would expect it. I hope that helps Darren and everybody else. I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just trying to look really broad at this opportunity and understand where the market is for it. And for a lot of you, it may not be a match. For some of you, it may. But just know yourself well enough to make that evaluation. Thank you for listening. You can totally please check out our YouTube channel in addition to subscribing to the podcast. We're pushing out a lot of great content there. We've got a really talented team putting together a lot of cool content, things that will help you through our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. So important having you here. If you have questions for an upcoming show that you want us to handle, that you want us to dive into like we did with Darren in Atlanta today, I want you to DM me at Work in Sports, DM us, our team, our social media team. I'm on there, but other people use it too. But DM at Work in Sports with a video of you asking your question. I want to incorporate you on our YouTube channel. I want to put your voice in our podcast. So send us in your questions because I think that's more fun to hear from you and see you. Let's use your voice in this. All right, let's do this. Thanks for listening, everybody.